Okay, these two men have written a brand new book. Ola and Bola Osundairo are here. The book is called Bigger Than Jussie. Most of you all probably thank you. Okay, good book. I read it all. By the way, very good read, and learned so much about you two that obviously the media completely screwed up. Right?
Yeah, big time.
Right? I mean, it's so crazy. When I was reading this book, I was thinking about, and by the way, people famously know you as the Jussie Smollett attackers. You guys were paid. It was a hoax. You kind of thought you were doing a favor for Jussie Smollett because he had told you both that he had been receiving these harassing letters on set of Empire, and he felt that they were racial and they were discriminating against him, and he wanted to stage this attack to really get sympathy for himself, raise his career, and he sort of made it sound like to you two, like, well, this is what people do in Hollywood. Kim Kardashian did this with her robbery in Paris, and you guys were up and coming actors, born in Chicago, and sort of thought you were going to help him out, and it really wouldn't be that big of a deal. Did I get this right?
Perfect to a T.
Yeah.
Right? The book is so good. Bigger Than Jussie. Everybody needs to buy it on Amazon. But guys, there was so much about you two that I had read in the press that I thought was real. First of all, I thought you were twins. You two are not twins.
No, not at all. He's older.
Okay, so Ola, you're older than Bola.
Yeah.
Okay.
About 2 years.
Second, Bola, they made it out to be, I thought you were gay, but you're not, right?
I thought I was too for a second. Shit.
I mean, right? Wasn't that the whole I thought, okay, well, he's doing this because he's dating Jussie or he wants to date Jussie. But then I read your book and it's like, I don't think you weren't ever gay. I mean, maybe you thought you were gay for 10 seconds, but you were gay. Is this right?
Exactly. No, that's true. The media made it out to be like that. But not only because of the media, it was Jussie as well. He tried to use that as a defense when he found or saw that the other way wasn't working or didn't make sense. Because initially he came out and had other people coming out to say that we're homophobic. Right. Now he switched the story later on because it was going to help his defense, he thought.
And guys, I had thought both of you were born in Nigeria, but not true. You're both Americans. Now, of course, your parents are Nigerian. You did move there when you were younger, came back. But you were born here in the United States. You're American citizens, and your parents were actually quite successful business people.
Yes, they were. Exactly. That's a misconception as well, that we were born in Nigeria, that we need to be deported. You can't deport us if you wanted to, And yeah, my parents,
jokes on everybody. That must have been good for you too when they were all calling for your deportation. You guys are like, jokes are on you guys.
Jokes are on you. No, people are still calling for us to be deported. They're still saying, "Hey, man, why aren't they deported? They must have struck a deal with the." It's crazy.
Are you serious? Oh my God! But isn't it wild? I mean, you guys really have learned firsthand how screwed up our media is right now. I mean, you two really were dragged through the mud, defamed. I mean, everything they could have thought of to write about you, half of which not true.
Exactly.
Yep. It was really through this situation that I started to understand what President Trump meant by fake news.
There's a lot of fake news. Yeah.
A ton of it. Guys, can we start from the beginning to kind of give some context to everybody listening to this and maybe really hearing your full story for the first time? Born and raised in Chicago, hardworking parents. Can you guys tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up? Did you always both want to be actors and in the spotlight?
We always wanted to be in the spotlight, not actors per se. I first wanted to go into football. I started playing football at a very young age, and I knew that it was something with sports that I wanted to do. I played soccer in high school because I went to high school in Nigeria. But once I came back from Nigeria, I started playing football for my college, my brother and I.
Yeah. So growing up, I've always been the not attention person, but I was always in the spotlight. I was
He
always
was an
the.
attention whore.
I mean, yeah, you
Yeah.
grew up. You both sound like you were quite popular here and when you went to Nigeria. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially as a duo, dynamic duo, a lot of people definitely gravitated towards us. We have a positive energy. We think positively. But going back to when I was younger, I did know I wanted to be in the acting world because I loved entertaining people. I loved making people laugh and putting on a show. So I became well, I started acting seriously when I went to college. I got my degree in biology and theater. So from there, I went on to, I came back to Chicago and then I became a professional actor.
And in the book, you guys really talk about, you really kind of had a somewhat traditional Nigerian-American upbringing in the sense like, all the same stuff, right? You got into a little bit of trouble in high school, but nothing major. You both were popular. Parents were, very strict in some ways, but gave you
Yeah.
guys a great life. You had, nice clothes, like all kind of the American all-around kid experience.
Yes, my parents definitely made sure that we wanted for nothing. Christmas came around, there was gifts under the Christmas trees. They would surprise us every now and then with gifts, food on the table. We never struggled, to be honest. My father, he's into politics in Nigeria, which has helped him do very well for himself. My mother was into IT, which helped her do very well for herself. And they've always made us be very, very keen on education. That is why he has his bachelor's and I have my master's in finance.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie to you. I hated school. I did very well in school, but I hated
Me
school.
too.
I hate school. I don't like studying. I don't like doing homework, none of that. But I excelled in school. I was in the honors program. I graduated with a 3.4 GPA. I took 24 hours, credit hours,
I
my
got a
last year.
3.6.
You didn't get a 3.6
Yes, I
because
did.
I think I
And my
graduated
master's, I
magna
got
cum. Oh,
and my
okay.
master's, I got 3.6.
Okay, good
Oh,
job.
thank you.
Okay, he's looking like me out here because I was
Mhm.
always the one with good grades or the better grades. But going back to what he said about my parents, they did give us a very very good up life growing up. My dad, he did not get his money through politics. I don't know what he's thinking
I
or
didn't say
saying.
that.
You said he said something like that, but
I did
he
not say
got it
that.
through business. He did all different types of businesses. He worked for, I believe he worked for a bank before. He's done a bunch of things. Had his own clothing store, sold semi trucks, transported it from America to Nigeria. He did a lot of things, and they, like he said, they gave us a great upbringing. We had nice clothes, the newest Jordans when they came out when we were young. We would get it. Nice game consoles. We had Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, all the games we wanted. We
And
look
there was
forward to
5 of
Christmas.
us.
Yeah, and there was 5 of us. So we all, and that's a big
Wow.
family.
That's
Yeah.
a big family, yeah. Well, and I think it's important for people to hear that because again, in the media, they kind of made you guys out to be like you did this hoax for money, that you needed money. And then when I read about you both, I was like, well, I don't think they needed money. I mean, we all need money, but
Right.
I could use a lot more. But in general, like it's so amazing, right? You guys just had this normal upbringing. And how was it that you even began to cross paths with Jussie Smollett?
So I was when I first met him, and it wasn't through acting, uh, which people thought it was. They thought I met him on set, which that was not the case. I actually met him through a mutual friend. The mutual friend invited me to Jesse's house, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. I've worked on Empire. That I should go over there. He's a star on the show. He was like the number 3 guy on the show after Taraji and Terrence Howard. So I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, business career wise, and also as to meet him. So that's how we met, or I first met him.
And this was in Chicago. So I didn't know this, but I guess did they film most of Empire in Chicago?
Most of Chicago was Filmed in Chicago.
Most of Empire was filmed in Chicago. Yes,
that's what I said.
He said most of Chicago is filmed in Chicago.
Oh,
I would hope.
I know what you meant. It's mostly filmed in Chicago's filmed in Chicago, and Empire is in
right.
Okay, so Jussie has. I mean, I'm assuming, does Jussie, like, when you went there, does he have a beautiful apartment? Like, is it okay? So he's living the life in Chicago.
Yes, he had a condo, a 2-bedroom condo. I believe the address was 340 East
Hey, you want to put
North
his
Water Street. He doesn't live there anymore. 340 East Water Street.
You go put the man's address online.
He was living there. I mean, everyone knows.
You two kind of have the right to blast him. So, whenever I don't know if he lives there anymore, but yeah, I guess we won't dox him, but close enough.
Right.
Okay, so Bola, you begin this friendship with him basically through a friend. Okay, when you first met him, and then Ola, I'm curious, when you first met him, what was your very first impression? What was your blink of this guy?
When I first met him, I was like, damn, okay, he's a cool dude. He's genuine. He's not snobby. He's a real person. He's not acting pompous or bigger than anybody. He's acting, comfortable. He makes you feel comfortable around him.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I met Jussie through Bola, of course. I believe Bola, the first time was to his apartment, and of course we went out a couple of times after that as well.
So you guys start a friendship with him, and you're just thinking, okay, cool guy who happens to be famous. He was down to earth. And like, was there anything, what was the timeline, guys? Like, Bola, from when you met him to when he asks you to participate in this hoax, like how long was that? Had you known him a year, 2 years?
About 2 years.
Okay, so you've known him 2 years. Wow. So you all had kind of a trust with him.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And that's why he bring it to us to say it. I mean, to do.
Wow. And in that 2 years time, I mean, did you ever get a sense he was a narcissist? Did you ever get a sense like it was all about him? Or that he wanted more fame and he wasn't happy with the level of fame he had?
What I got from him was that he definitely disliked Trump. And he definitely wanted to be a freedom fighter or a activist. He was definitely into that.
Yeah. So he'd really taken on that. And this is like the rise of Black Lives Matter, President Trump's first, 4 years, first session. So, okay, so he began to really, do you guys almost feel he was a bit like radicalized? Like it just becomes so much of his identity? Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. He was a radical, or is a radical when it came to that. Yes. And you can see that on his Twitter and various social media handles.
So talk to us about how he approached you guys to play out this hoax and what your initial reaction was.
So initially I was in the gym and he sent me a text saying, hey, can you meet me at where we record, which is CineSpace? Can you meet me at CineSpace where they record Empire? And I said, okay, after I'm done, I'll come over there. He said, and this is where he said, can you meet me? I need to discuss with you something on the low. And when we got there, or when I got there, that's when he now said, he told me the plan. He told me, hey, I want you to beat me up. And initially, I'm just looking at him like, wait, is this guy serious right now? Man, I don't think he's serious. Let me listen to him. Mind you, he was smoking, so I'm like, maybe it's a high thing. I don't know. But I kept listening, and then he unraveled his plans and what he wanted us to do, or me to do. And then he, of course, asked if my brother would do it, or if he could trust my brother. And I say yes and yes.
And what he asked you to do too was like get a noose, make it look like a hate crime, wear a MAGA hat, right? Like beat him up, really make it look like this. Because you guys even went as far as to practice having like a white Southern accent. I mean, it's really wild, like what he wanted you guys to do and how he wanted to frame this. He really wanted it to be a hate crime of white versus black, right?
White versus black, right versus left. Straight or heterosexual, white male versus a black gay liberal. Yes.
For the most part.
Ola, when your brother comes to you with this idea, I mean, did either one of you go, I don't know, something just seems off about this, like, let's not do it?
Yeah, so well, I'm sorry, that was his question, but hold on. Let me answer that first. When he first told me that the plan, Ola was not in the car. So at this moment, we were driving, Jussie and I, we were driving back to my house, and he was telling me the plan. And when he was telling me this, I was first shocked, but then I guess he noticed that, and that's when he told me about the Kim Kardashian robbery being fake. And that's how Hollywood does. Like, they do that in Hollywood. A lot of things are publicity stunts. So that kind of eased my nerves in a sense. And when we got home, that's when I saw Ola in the back magically, which is crazy. And then I told Ola to come inside inside the car. And then Jussie asked him, could he trust him? And that's when the whole thing happened.
Yeah. When Jussie first told me about the whole plan, I couldn't believe what I was hearing, honestly. I could not believe it. It was shocking. It was honestly shocking. But at the same time, I started to think, like, this is just Hollywood. This is what they do in Hollywood. And when he started to explain, he told me about the Kim Kardashian thing too. And
I know this stood out for me in the book. So, okay. Did he give you any other examples? I mean, he tells you flat out that Kim staged this robbery, which I believe is completely untrue, or nobody has ever proven that to this day. But does he give you other Hollywood examples? I mean, he states that like fact.
No, he didn't give me any other example. No.
He just was like, Kim staged this. And
Yeah.
so this is like what we do in Hollywood.
Exactly. That is what he said. So we're thinking, okay, this is our introduction into Hollywood. We're finally Hollywood if we're helping and acting stage this. So yeah.
And okay, guys, do you think he was, because I know you mentioned this too in the book, that I think, you guys would all smoke pot together. Maybe you guys would like score. I don't know that you really like I sound like a drug person. You guys would score him drugs. But I mean, do you guys think he was like getting too into drugs? I mean, this does seem to me like somebody who was like, had been doing drugs for a while and came up with this crazy idea. Any truth to that?
No, I would say he was perfectly sane.
Yes.
I don't think the drugs. He didn't do more drugs than
your normal
every
day druggie.
Druggie, probably.
That sounds like a lot. Wait, but aside from pot, did you guys see him, like, was he snorting coke often? Was he doing like Molly? I feel like you mentioned Molly in the book. What was he doing?
Yeah, so he has done that, the coke and Molly, but not all the time. He was a big pot smoker.
It was more socially.
Yeah, socially. If he'll go out to a party, that's when I would notice him do it.
I read in the book you guys approached this truly like an acting gig. You felt that this was he was going to help your career. He was helping his. This is what Hollywood does. You're going to stage this hate crime, and then it's going to get social media attention, but nobody's ever going to know it was you two. Was that kind of the mindset?
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had no idea this would ever come back on us. We did not plan for that. It was supposed to go strictly on social media. Him going and calling the cops was completely off plan.
Yeah, that wasn't planned at all. He was supposed to, I guess, distribute it to blogs, however he's gonna do it. I mean, he's a celebrity. He knows and has PR people, so that wasn't far-fetched. We were never supposed to be known as the people that did it, and the police weren't supposed to be involved. And we, like you mentioned, we took it as an acting gig. That's it. That we're gonna help him out. And the reason we did it, we didn't do it for the money. No, we didn't need the 3,500. If we did it for the money, we would have told him a lot more than that. What we did it for was the opportunity it gave us. If we help out a friend that's a famous actor and in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He can help us out. Hollywood, if you know, and as you probably know, is who you know, not what you know. It's a little bit of what you know, yes, but it's really who you know. How can you get in the door?
Yeah.
And can they push you? So that's our thought process.
Have you guys spent any time thinking about why he picked you all? You know, I mean, he was super famous at this time. Have you guys thought about that? Do you feel like being maybe like having kind of a Nigerian background, like maybe he felt that you didn't know Hollywood as well? Or have you ever thought about why you guys?
I think I haven't thought about that, but I do think that the reason he chose us was because it was convenient. It
Mm,
was the easiest choice for him because I don't know if he really knew any white person that's going to do it that's in Chicago that will participate in that. Uh, and he didn't know too many other normal people, non-actors in Chicago either. You know, he's not from Chicago; he's from LA or New York or both. But in Chicago, he needed somebody that he knew that he could trust, and that was us.
yeah. No, I was reading your book and I was trying to think about it. I was like, gosh, was it because he was kind of in love with you, Bola? Like he thought, you know, I don't know, maybe doing this, like you would want to date him, or this would bring you guys closer. You're laughing.
Right. Right. No.
What
And
was
that's
like,
possible. People have crazy thought processes. But that is possible. He did so before he helped me get the role as a stand-in on Empire. He asked me, and I don't know if he was gauging to see where I'm at with it, but he did ask me if I would play a gay character on a TV show. And this is right before he had a love interest named Kai, who I was standing in for on Empire. I don't know if he was asking me that to maybe see if I would try audition for that role and he'll help me get that role. I don't know, but he did ask me, and I told him, I don't know about all that. I don't know if I could play a gay character. I mean, I could skill wise, but I don't know if I would be comfortable playing a gay character and due to my beliefs and whatnot.
Ola, have you thought about why he picked you guys?
No, I never really sat down to think about it, but as my brother said, I believe it was because of convenience.
Yeah. I read the book. I have all kinds of theories. I also think too, I think lots of times Nigerian people, I think lots of times people that have more of a foreign background, you guys are very loyal. Like you know what you're very loyal, you have much more, I think, moral sometimes than you know, you are American, but I do think you have that tie. And you know, people here that have lived here a long time have no loyalty. You know what I mean? Like I think you guys, and there's a lot of theories, I think, as to why he picked you. You know, I mean, I do believe after reading your book and really learning more, I think he just set you guys up completely, you know, totally
Mm.
set you up, used you, like, you know, long game, you were just part of his narcissism.
Mhm. Yeah, no.
Yeah, looking at everything now, I believe that's what exactly happened.
So the night of the attack, before that, you all you go and get supplies. And I love in the book you say because Chicago's so liberal, I think you went to a store, there was only one MAGA hat. That's why only one of you was wearing the MAGA.
No, there was no MAGA
No
hats.
MAGA
It was
Couldn't
just a
find a MAGA hat in Chicago.
it was
No.
just a regular red hat,
Regular red hat.
regular red
Yeah.
hat.
Because that
And
was part, he wanted you to get MAGA hats, right?
yeah,
Yes, exactly. He wanted us with MAGA hats, but I can guarantee you that in Chicago, liberal Chicago, there is not one store that sells a MAGA hat at all.
So you couldn't get a MAGA hat. So you
Oh
get
no.
a red hat.
Yes.
You buy the rope. What else did you buy?
Bought rope. We knew it was going to be a little cold. Never expected it to be a polar vortex. So we bought hand warmers. We bought, what else did we buy?
gloves,
Gloves.
hats, everything, everything to try to stay warm that night because it was As he famously says, cold as balls.
It was cold as balls. He also wanted us to buy gasoline. However, Ola wasn't comfortable with using gasoline, so changed it to bleach. But we already had bleach at home, so we just he just put bleach in the hot sauce bottle.
And then you guys kind of begin to feel like maybe this is off when he also wanted you to attack him in a really kind of high-end area of Chicago, right? You describe where the attack happened, just a few blocks from where Oprah Winfrey has an apartment or something, and you're like, this wouldn't really be the neighborhood where something like this would happen. Is that right?
Yes. Downtown Streeterville, Chicago, absolutely not. Right by the Chicago River. No, ain't that type of crime is not happening with white white racist, white supremacist people at all.
It didn't make sense, but if that's what he wanted, oh well.
You guys were going to do it. So he gets in late from a flight. It ends up being something that, you guys are freezing your asses off. It's like 2 a.m. and he's walking to this subway or whatever. And okay, when you actually physically attack him, was there a moment where you guys spoke where he was like, hit me now, or like he knew it was happening? Or did he like really play like, all right, now punch me now? Like, I mean, how did that go?
Correction, fake attack when we fake attacked him. So no, we did not. He did not mention any of that because he was actually on the phone with one of his managers that was on the West Coast, and that manager, I believe, did not know he was actually concocting this whole thing up. So he was using that manager to corroborate what happened. So he wanted that manager on the phone so he could hear what was going on, him getting fake attacked. So we just attacked him or fake attacked him, and I just held my punches, and I believe he held his kicks, but we obviously try to make it look real and whatnot because it was supposed to be recorded for a camera that he pointed out.
And so you do that, you guys take off, and he doesn't call the police right away, right? Like he's on the phone, like you mentioned, with the manager. He lets the manager know. And you guys, the plan had been you left for Nigeria the next day. You're going to kind of take off for a while, lay low. And then this whole thing you thought
No,
would blow over.
that was not the plan for
Okay.
us.
Yeah, correct. All right, we don't need any more fake news. So,
Yeah.
all right, scratch that. How did it really go?
So we about 3-4 months prior,
In October.
we already planned to go to Nigeria. We
Okay.
already planned. This trip has already been planned, so it had nothing to do with the fake attack. He just was able to plan it to that time when we're about to leave.
When did you guys begin to realize this had gotten huge? Tons of attention, like, oh shit, this is going in a different direction.
Well, those two times were different times. So when I knew it was huge was that day when we woke up after the fake attack. My friend had sent me a screenshot of, I think, a TMZ shot that said Jussie Smollett was attacked. And I believe we knew that it had gone the different direction was when we were in Nigeria, which was a week and a half later when we knew the police were involved.
And you guys end up getting detained, kind of coming back from Nigeria, right?
Correct.
Okay, tell us about that. Were you crapping your pants when you're getting off that plane and they're like going over passports?
So
Good.
So at the airport in Nigeria, my brother and I are having a conversation. He's telling me he has a feeling that they might be waiting for us when we get back. And now I just brush it off like, you're crazy, ain't nothing. We're good. We're gonna be fine. So as soon as we land and as people are getting off the plane, there's custom agents checking everybody's passports. And when they get to my passport, they tell me to follow them to come grab my bags. They take me to go, and me and my brother, we're sitting in different places. So we're separated the whole time. I didn't see what happened to him. He didn't see what happened to me. So as I grab my bag, they take me and they check my luggage. for contraband or whatever, and they let me go. And I'm like, thank God, because I was so nervous at that point. And I take 3 steps, and Chicago police walk up to me and ask, "Are you Ola Osundairo?" And I should follow them. And I knew it was over with at that point.
Oh, I would have been like, did you guys confess right away? I mean, I would have been like, I did it. I don't know. I just like, I'm with you guys in the book. You're like, we don't mess with the police. I'm like, me neither. I would not. No, thank you.
Even though we don't mess with the police or anything, we have watched a lot of TV, and we know you're never supposed to speak to the police without your lawyer. So we remained silent until our lawyer showed up.
Yeah, and we never knew what we were charged or what
if we were charged. Yeah. We were never charged.
We were never charged, but we never knew what we were detained for until our lawyer came and told us.
Mm-hmm.
So we were there for, like you said, 47 hours, or like they said, 47 hours, and
without even knowing, we had an idea why we might have been in there, but they never said anything to us.
Yeah, they never said anything to us.
I got a couple clues here, but oh my gosh. So your lawyer comes in, and that is the interesting part. You two to this day have never been charged with anything, correct?
Never, because we did not commit a crime. And that's a thing that a lot of people need to understand.
Yeah, tell us about that, because that's always like, I always was like, why weren't they ever charged, and why is it not a crime?
Right. So the crime was lying to the police. You can fake a hate crime and put it on video. That is not a crime. You can do all that. It's acting. It's literally acting. You can do that and not get in trouble. But the thing is, when you call the police and tell them you were really attacked, that is a crime. We never called the police, never had intentions to call the police, so we never committed a crime. So the police couldn't charge us if they wanted to, which a lot of people don't understand. People say, you read online that, why don't they get charged? They're criminals. No, what we did may have been morally, questionable. However, it was never a crime. We didn't do anything illegal.
Yeah, I didn't know that part about it at all whatsoever. And that's where, so what your lawyer at this time is beginning to tell you, because, it was very interesting. I was one of the people, like when this first happened, I thought he was telling the truth. I thought it was like real, and it was at the height of Black Lives Matter. And as a white person, you're like, how can I help? And then it was interesting. I had other Black friends that were like, he's totally full of shit and lying. I was like, how do you know that? Like, what? And then it like all unraveled, and they were like, there's no way that, it, like you guys said, in this high-end area of Chicago, that these so-called white Southern guys are going to come and like call this guy the F word and all this stuff. And like, he's going to have this like noose that he kind of hangs around his neck. They're like, this is absolutely kind of half beat up. And by the way, so when he goes on Robin Roberts, did you guys watch that interview? Were you like, did you see that?
The first time we saw it was when our lawyer showed us that video while we were in detention.
While we were detained, our lawyer showed us the video. I believe she showed him first, the video. And that's when we knew, like, oh, this dude, he's going to continue to lie. That, we're in some shit now.
And I figured out that he was the one that called the police. Because what I thought at first was, during the attack that night, there was this car that drove by and shined its lights on us. So I thought it was that individual that initially called the police, and that's why this whole police investigation happened. But it was later when we were in detention, that's when I figured out it was actually Jussie who called the police himself.
So did your lawyer indicate to you guys at any time, like, you guys were going to be in trouble? Or basically the lawyer was like, lay low, you didn't do anything wrong?
Our lawyer always did tell us we didn't do anything wrong.
She actually told us we didn't even have to tell them anything, that we would have been completely fine, that we didn't even have to tell them anything that happened.
But you guys do cooperate with police?
Yes. So we were also told that Jussie was going to sign a complaint against us, saying that yes, they were the ones. However, his lawyer at the time told him not to, that they would come back another day. So his lawyer must have knew something, and for that reason, that lawyer, I guess they separated. He didn't go with that lawyer anymore. But I don't know the reason why he didn't go with that lawyer. But he was going to sign an official complaint against us, which was going to throw us under the bus, and say we committed a hate crime. So when we learned that, of course, you gotta defend yourself, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You guys, Chicago or the Illinois Supreme Court just recently overturned his conviction. Basically, I don't think anyone believes this guy is innocent. And actually, in the book, you guys kind of talk about you feel as though it bothers you that people still kind of feel he's innocent. Aside from Taraji P. Henson, I don't know why. I guess she feels indebted to him or something. I mean, I don't know anybody that believes him. Do you think that many people believe him?
Whoa. If you see on social media the comments that we see, there are a ton of people that believe him. They say, "Oh, I don't trust them. They're from Nigeria. They needed money. They probably did attack him. That he's a rich, famous celebrity. That why would he need to do this?" There's a bunch of people. And what they are is they're either very biased or they're foolish. And a lot of them are foolish, very ignorant.
And there's also
I have no idea if this is true, but this is my complete made up theory. I allege this, but I believe they are bots, probably purchased by Jussie Smollett or somebody in that truly, because I do not know many people. I really think it's fake. I mean, you can fake anything. I think he has fake bots, allegedly. I do not know that to be true at all. But I can't even believe anyone thinks he is telling the truth.
Yeah, I also think that there are people that wanted it to be true. So they're so biased that they're like, man, it is true. Or they're upset that it wasn't true. So then they talk mess online and talk mess about us and whatnot. But most people do know that he's guilty. Most people have shown support for us. And I think we're funny. They like us. So we do focus on the positive and the good people.
yeah, there's also individuals that really don't care that he did this and are just, like he said, mad that he got caught.
Yeah, yeah. Such people as I believe we saw a interview, or it was like a
It
round
was a
table on,
panel.
yeah, a round table on CNN with Van Lathan. He said something like, "We're up, that we up." When the conviction got overturned, he said, "We up," as in the liberal left side. We up. That Jussie, it doesn't matter if he really did it. That this is a win for us. And this is after the election. Donald Trump, President
Sick.
Donald Trump won the election.
Just sick.
He said this is a win for us, that we've been losing for some weeks now. And when I heard that, I'm like, wow, this is crazy. You're on
Yeah.
national television, CNN, saying that this is a win for us. That is grossly disgusting. Yeah, it's disturbing.
Guys, has anybody from a more liberal leaning media ever reached out to you to tell your story? I know you've been on like News Nation, but I mean, did CNN ever reach out? MSNBC, Robin Roberts, did they ever reach out and say, hey, let's have you guys tell your story since this guy's lying?
Finally, one person did. And that was Laura Coates on CNN. And before that, none at all. They were not trying to hear our story. They didn't
Wow.
want to talk
It's
to us.
crazy.
Yeah,
I
It
it
is
don't
was
understand
crazy.
why.
disturbing. Yeah. But Laura Coates, we just did an interview with her, I believe, 2 weeks ago.
Good for you. Good for her. And good for her for being, brave enough to reach out. I mean, what have you guys learned about this? You even say in the book Black Lives Matter. And I mean, obviously you guys are black. I mean, that you say that Black Lives Matter has never even reached out to you two who were used in a fake hate crime. Is that true? You cannot really?
Yeah.
They
I'm
supported
shocked.
Jussie the whole time.
They supported Jussie the whole time. And not to say, oh, if you're a percentage of black, you're more black, but this dude is half white. We're full black. And they did not make a statement for us. They did never show support. They never reached out or anything. But they did write a statement for Jussie saying that the Chicago police has a history of messing over black people and we stand with Jussie. Hey guys, we're black too. So it didn't make sense. But obviously when you're a celebrity, you have money, you're rich and famous, you have more privilege.
And we know how BLM is about their money.
They are about their money. Yes.
Unfortunately, and so many, right? I mean, they've gone the way of Susan G. Komen and a lot of these other organizations, even the Red Cross. I mean, they pay so much money to people and executives or purchase homes. I mean, they're all so full of it, so many of them. So yeah,
Hmm.
BLM, unfortunately, now we know is in that category
Exactly.
of
Correct.
some
Yeah.
of the, yeah, they've misused a lot of funds, in my opinion, and I think a lot of other people feel that way. And you've seen other huge organizations do that all the time. Yeah, it's terrible. Um, I guess what have you guys learned from this experience? I mean, you really were like just pawns in this, pawns in a race game, in a hate crime for LGBTQ game, BLM, Chicago police. I mean, even and the DA's office. I mean, you guys, has it changed? How has it changed you? Of course, an experience like this has changes someone, but how has it changed you?
Yeah. Also in the political arena, but go ahead.
Yeah, what I learned from this, my big takeaway, one of my biggest takeaways, should I say, is not to follow headlines. Headlines will mislead you and most of the time are not true. So anytime I see any type of headline anywhere on news, social media, I wait for more information to come out. And I would um, tell anybody I come across to wait for more information to come out on any type of subject or headline you see in the news, because most of the time it's not true, or it's been distorted.
And it's such for their own agendas, isn't it? I mean, that's what I've learned over the year. It doesn't matter who you are. You guys talk class issues in the book, you talk race issues, and it's like they will run you over, with a bus if they could further any of their agendas. It doesn't matter politically, LGBTQ, BLM, white people. I mean, right? It's just, I feel like so bad for you guys. You just completely used and discarded by so many groups.
Yes, exactly. They use propaganda. A lot of headlines and media use propaganda on people, but we don't view ourselves as victims at all. Although all those things did happen to us, we don't claim to be victims. We are very strong men, positive people, and we continue to strive to be better in the world. And I've learned that no matter the circumstance, always keep the Almighty first. And that's how we stayed grounded, by keeping the Almighty first, because we did go through a lot and seen a lot, heard a lot, and we couldn't defend ourselves. There were times where media was lying. And like, I'm in a gay relationship and I couldn't say anything. I just had to see my name being slandered,
Drag.
so dragged and slandered. People online thinking they know the story, explaining to other people that, hey, this is what happened, when it was totally false, which is crazy. You'll see people talking like they're the expert on this subject and they absolutely know nothing.
You got it
It is
completely wrong.
crazy. People are crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Me thinking about it right now, I'm like, this is amazing. This is amazing
No,
that
why
people.
didn't you speak up at the time? Was your lawyer telling you just don't say anything?
Yes.
Yes, because we were in the court process and we didn't want to mess up anything. We didn't want to give them ammo for anything against us when it came to for trial, time for trial.
What do you guys think about the Supreme Court overturning his conviction? Which, like I said, is really not. It's not saying he's innocent, but basically, it was like they can't do double jeopardy because Kim Fox, we all know, gave him a lot of leniency. Came out afterwards. She was close with the family, so a lot of people feel she gave him a lot of leeway.
Treatment.
They basically couldn't retry him. They couldn't double jeopardy him, even though the police, like, everybody thought he was guilty. I mean, what do you make of that overturning?
I agree. I agree with the overturning. This is America, and there's laws, and we must abide by them. So yes, even though they were wrong in that sense, they were also wrong at the beginning. Kim Fox's office was wrong giving Jussie Smollett that sweetheart deal, which is the first time that ever happened for anybody in Chicago or in America, period.
Well, yeah. In her office, we know for a fact that she has never given that deal, despite her saying that, oh, this is normal. This is what we usually do. So what she did with Jussie Smollett was she said, we won't charge you, or we won't prosecute you if you leave this $10,000 and if you do community service. Usually you'll have to plead. You have to plead guilty, and then they'll work with you. But he didn't have to plead or anything. He just had to forfeit the money, and he was free to go. He didn't have to admit guilt, and they sealed it immediately.
Yeah.
So that's why people were upset. Like, man, what's going on? That this is not this is not the process. People don't get this privilege. And this goes to show that if you are a celebrity or have friends in high places or wealthy, that the rules are different for you. You know, because if I was in that position, I know that I would not get that type of treatment.
Yeah. You guys, Jussie still to this day, goes out and says it was a hate crime against him. Do you think he'll ever do you think you'll ever run into him again? Do you think he'll ever change his tune?
Not at this point.
No.
Not at this point,
Yeah.
no.
I don't think he'll ever change his tune. His mother was a Black Panther. He wants to be a social activist. He will never come out and say he did it.
Especially now that the courts have pretty much let him go. There's no reason for him to come forward.
Yeah, I'm sure soon he's going to come out and say that he's innocent. You see, I've said all along that I was innocent. I think he's laying low right now, not to repeat what he did the first time when Kim Fox first sealed it and they didn't prosecute him. He came out and said, I would not be my mother's son if I did any of this that they said I did. So, and that's what made people upset. So I'm pretty sure his lawyers told him or are telling him, hey, don't come out and say anything. Take this and just walk away. But him being who he is, like you think he is a narcissist, he's going to come out and say something. If not in a podcast, in an interview, he's going to say something.
It's coming.
It's coming. Trust me.
You guys, at the beginning of the book, you kind of drop this bombshell where you almost believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, where you almost believe that maybe this was even bigger than Jussie, that this was about passing the Emmett Till bill, which essentially ended lynching, making it illegal in every state across the country. And it had been introduced something like 200 times prior over the years to make lynching illegal, to recognize, obviously the racial connotation it had in this country. And it had been shot down, not voted on for years. And then this attack happens and this hoax, and suddenly it passes almost unanimously in the Senate, right? And it became known as the Emmett Till bill. When I read that, I don't know, my conspiracy hat, I guess, came on a little bit. And I thought, that's an interesting theory. Was this really like a bigger agenda? And Jussie was willing to do it. What do you think of that? And do I have it correct?
Yes, you do have it correct. So the title of the book is Bigger Than Jussie. You just mentioned it is bigger than Jussie. But Bigger Than Jussie stands for our lives are bigger than Jussie. Like who we are is bigger than that. That's not who people think we are. They think our claim to fame, or just they think that that's the thing that makes us relevant, but that's not the case. And also it's a play on what happened and who's involved and why Jussie might have concocted this whole thing. We do believe that he was motivated in a sense, to concoct this whole thing to help pass the anti-lynching bill. And did certain people put him up to it? It's very possible. We can't say for sure that that's what happened. However, it's very interesting when you look at Jussie being, so the people that were passing the anti-lynching bill, or that were the people that were sponsoring it, was Senator Cory Booker and dun 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 Vice President Madam Kamala Harris, senator at the time. So he was close with Kamala, and
I believe they said they're family. I've been hearing rumors that
I don't know if they're family.
I don't
think they're related.
Mm.
However, he's very close with her, and she showed her support to him immediately. And the subtitle of the book is "The Disturbing Need for Modern Day Lynching." She's the one that coined the term modern day lynching with Senator Booker. They came out as soon as the hoax happened. They came out and said, "Oh my God, this is a modern day lynching. This is why the bill has to be passed." So it was very interesting that they said that. Also, to point something out, Jussie wanted that to be done immediately, like the fake attack, before we went to Nigeria, because we were going to go to Nigeria from the 29th to the 14th. The anti-lynching bill was going to come out on the 14th. They were going to propose it on the 14th in Congress. So that happened. He wanted that to happen definitely before the anti-lynching bill was going to be proposed in the Congress.
And he knew we were leaving that 29th. And even though his plane was being delayed, it got delayed like 2-3 times. He did not want to say, "Okay, guys, let's just wait until you come back." Because I don't know what the rush was. Yeah. It seemed like it was a rush for that fake attack to be done, especially before we leave. He wanted to make sure it was done before we left, because he knew we weren't going to be back in time before the anti-lynching bill hit the floor.
Have you guys ever thought about doing a documentary on that? I mean, has anybody ever, given you any information that they didn't want their name public? I mean, that's a very big coincidence. I mean, the timing and everything.
It is a big coincidence, yes. And we don't think it is a coincidence, or my belief is it's not a
because think about, why did he want the news? He wanted the news.
He made sure to say the news,
like
and the MAGA hat. Yes.
Come on, and then 2 weeks later, the bill is hitting the floor. Like, yeah.
This might be your next documentary. I mean, this is like, worth kind of interviewing people to find out. Certainly seems like the timing.
There should definitely, if people have the resources, there should definitely be people or somebody that does more research into this and look into this deeper and see what they find.
A couple of last questions for you. What about your parents and your family? What have they thought about this whole situation? Did they believe what you guys believe, that maybe you were used for something bigger than Jussie? Were they, in shock that you guys would participate in this? Were they supportive? How do they feel?
Confused. There was a lot of confusion at the beginning. How could we get ourselves involved in something like this? But once we started to explain ourselves and let them know the exact reason why we even would do something like this, there was much more understanding.
Yes. So initially there was rebuke. They were upset that we participated in this. However,
got involved with the police, and Nigerians don't like having anything to do with the police.
Exactly. But they, as Nigerians or as parents, because I think all parents or most parents are like this, they did show their support, and that's all they could do, show their support to us. So, and family too. Family, for the most part, was supportive of us. A lot of people were confused, though, when, what's her name? His lawyer?
Tina Glandian.
Oh, Tina Glandian. She came out and said that I might have wore whiteface to attack Jussie, which is crazy.
A lot of people were upset with that.
Yeah, a lot of people were upset with that.
Which is completely untrue, right?
Correct.
Untrue all the way, yes. And given the history of blackface in the
We might have put
country,
on white voice,
right?
but white face was not one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. We were mashed up, so Jussie didn't even see our face at all, or the camera wasn't supposed to see our face.
How have your careers been impacted? You were really on, both of you, on a trajectory. You were doing stand-in work, you were doing acting work. Are you guys still interested in that? And how did this impact your careers?
So we're definitely still into acting. At the time, we were professional actors, and we had been on various projects such as Chicago PD, Empire, Chirac with Spike Lee, and those were professional roles. Well, the Chicago PD and the Chirac,
Chirac.
those were professional roles, and I had done independent films as well. So it definitely made it messed it up. It messed
It
it up.
did. Was it hard? Yeah.
He was signed with the best agency in Chicago,
Yeah.
and they dropped him like a hot potato.
Hot potato.
As soon as
They
this,
figured out
yeah,
that I was involved, and it was difficult. But now our career is on an upward trajectory. We're getting more auditions. So at the time, auditions stopped, but now they have continued, and we're auditioning, and hope to be in LA soon, doing more auditions and signing with an agent.
Excellent. And you guys, look, we have to switch gears. You both are hot. You like, what's your dating status? You both are okay. You're both like gorgeous. You live in Chicago. You're young. You're hot. Okay. Are either of you dating? What's going on?
we are single,
Oh, all right.
ready to mingle. But yeah, we're pretty much focused on our careers right now. But if something comes along, why not?
Yes, and as you know, or if you know, we are boxing as well. I'm doing it professionally.
I'm still an
He's
amateur.
still an amateur, and boxing has been going very well. 5 fights in, I was ranked number 25 in the world.
Wow.
I won the USA National Championships within 2 years of boxing, so I was ranked number one in the country. So boxing has been going very well. I'm part of the Dallas Enforcers on Team Combat League. It's a new league that started last year, and I'm going to be on the Dallas Enforcers for next season. The next season starts in March, and it's a team concept of boxing, first professional co-ed sport. So that's pretty exciting, and we are looking to fight Jake Paul and Logan Paul if they take it. But I think they
Yeah.
are a little nervous, a little scared because I'm better than him, of course. So he's been boxing longer than I, but he knows that I'm better than him. My brother could fight Logan Paul, who has been boxing longer than him. My brother would beat him too. So
Have you guys reached out to their team? I think this could be good, actually. And I feel like, he staged that Mike Tyson fight. So why
you
not?
feel me? You feel me?
Yeah.
Because that Mike Tyson fight was a disgrace to boxing.
We
I'm not gonna lie
Yeah.
to
we
you.
we've reached out. We've been to their press conferences where we called them out. But
Yes, been on TMZ a few times, calling him out, and he never responded because he knows the deal. Uh, Logan Paul as well. They know the deal.
Oh my God, you guys will definitely get there.
Yeah.
Um, con
amen.
Congratulations on the book on speaking your truth. And to this day, have you ever heard from Jussie? Have you heard from anybody from Empire? I mean, they came all out and supported him, and I know you guys, what you did was wrong. So obviously you acknowledge that, and I want to say that too in this interview. But I mean, have any of them? Have you ever heard from Jussie again?
No, have not heard from him at all. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And nobody from the Empire cast or
Nope,
None.
none.
oh,
Nobody has hit us up, has reached out. Nobody.
All right. Well, the joke is on them because as you guys continue to succeed, maybe you can be hiring Terrence Howard. He'll be auditioning for you. Won't that be full circle?
Amen. Right? Table turn. People don't know that though. They don't know, but they'll
uh,
figure it out.
I can't believe, I mean, it's crazy to me how many times things like this happen and like none of these people come out and apologize. They never go, "Oh, we were wrong." And again, what you guys did was wrong for sure. I don't want to excuse that, but it's
Yeah.
amazing that people have just never corrected themselves in believing, and standing by his complete lies.
Yes. And what we did, it was 5 years ago. People make mistakes, but the thing is owning up to those mistakes and asking for forgiveness from yourself, from the Almighty, and from other people, which we did do. Would we make that same mistake? No, we wouldn't do something like that again. But that's what life is about. It's about learning from your mistakes and moving on and being stronger. And that's another reason we wrote the book, to give people, to let them know that, yes, you can make a mistake. However, what matters is you learning from that mistake and moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. The book is great, bigger than Jesse,
Yeah.
and everyone should get it. Such a good cautionary tale. Yes. And really owning it and really telling your all's truth. So congrats to you. I've also heard you say, because I keep wanting to call him Jussie Smollett as well, because I know you guys watched the Dave Chappelle
Yeah.
comedy special where I always think of him as Juicy now. That was Did you guys ever hear from Dave? Did Chappelle ever?
No. No, I'm surprised he hasn't, but no, he has not.
I feel like Dave would be the type of person that would bring you like front row
Yeah.
at his like comedy store like shows. Like he would totally that. I mean, that just went so viral. Like people come.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, let me know when you're in LA. Much success. We can't wait to see what you do next. Ola and Bola, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sarah. We
Loved
appreciate you. And your
Loved
show's
it.
amazing, awesome show, and I hope it reaches heights that it has never reached before.
Amen.
Thank you. Amen. And to you guys too. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Mwah.